Anybody? I'm talking
Okay,
now.
let's see if you're. Oh, you know what? I think they did a self shut off from the time we turned them on.
Okay. So now,
All right,
okay. So we're good. Now we can hear.
there we go. Well, I'm glad we did that audio test.
Yeah, this is the least problems we've ever had to start.
I know,
Right?
and
There
it's
had to
like
be,
just
had to be something.
it had to be something. There's still several problems. Well,
Beer Friday.
cheers.
Everybody go get your beers.
Yep, fill up, grab a cup.
Everybody wants to know what we're drinking. Should we tell them?
Yeah,
Budweiser.
we're drinking house beer.
We're just drinking Budweiser.
Yeah, from the keg.
We used to have Heineken in here all the time.
Yeah,
but it's expensive, and they didn't sponsor us. So fooey on them.
that's right. Fooey on them, but you still have a chance, Heineken, because I'm not going to stop drinking Heineken.
Yeah, no shit. All right, so let's get going. Let's get started. I guess this time we're going to let some of the girls in the office help a little bit, because sometimes we have trouble keeping up, and we want people to send questions. We want to answer questions. This is a good opportunity to do it. We don't prepare for them. We don't know what the questions are going to be, right?
That's part of the fun.
Yeah. So we take our shot, and we have to be honest. I don't know, that kind of thing, because we know how much people delight in jumping on us when we're wrong.
For sure.
I mean, they love it. Mispronounce a word, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? The spelling police, the pronunciation police.
The ripped jeans police. Don't forget. I'm wearing my ripped jeans today.
Well, I get what we get. I got yelled at last time for what? Not knowing that it was Memorial Day.
Oh, that was a bad one.
And like you're so unpatriotic and all that. No, I'm not. I just
didn't
know
off the top of your head. Yeah.
I didn't know. Labor Day, Memorial Day, they're all important. I don't know. So I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody for that one.
You do the best you can.
Yeah.
But cheers. But crack those beers. The big news. Oh, actually, someone asked the very first question. Is like a really interesting.
Well, no, that's not. We don't start with that. Start with what's important.
Oh, okay.
Really important.
Let's start with that then.
Well, what is it?
The Mirage.
The
Mirage is really important.
It's going to close.
Yeah.
And that was just announced this week. They had, it's going to be changed. It's going through a transformation to the Hard Rock. Mm-hmm. The Seminole tribe from Florida owns it, and it's going to become a Seminole Hard Rock. And they've said, they've owned that thing for over 2 years now. Mm-hmm. And they've said constantly that they are going to build around it, right? They're going to knock down the volcano. So that's the first thing. They're going to knock down the volcano. They're going to build the big guitar
mm-hmm.
hotel, which is kind of cool. It's a guitar-shaped hotel. The rooms are inside the guitar.
I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And they said over and over again that they were going to keep the casino open.
Right.
And they were going to build around it and do it. Well, all of a sudden, boom, right out of the blue, they come out and they say it's going to close on July 17th.
And this is about for 2 years, they're saying.
For 3 years. No, 3 years. They say that they want to, it will reopen in 2027.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So you're going to be without that major casino in, mid-strip, right in the middle for 3 years. Mm-hmm. I hate that. I mean, I hate to hear that. But, we got to talk a little bit about it because, the Mirage was, if you talk about one casino that typifies the modern Vegas, or what started the modern Vegas, it was the Mirage.
Right.
And that was, they flung the doors open there. Steve Wynn said, I'm going to build the greatest thing, ever. And obviously since then there's been greater things, but at that time there was nothing like the Mirage.
People forget that the Mirage was Steve Wynn.
Yeah. That was, they opened the doors in November 1989. Mm-hmm. And that literally flipped the switch on the change from old Vegas to new Vegas. Everyone says, well, corporate Vegas came in and took it away from the mob, Desert Inn and all that kind of business. Not really. It was 1989 mm-hmm. when Steve Wynn, opened the Mirage.
Yeah. And you can still go on YouTube and see the commercial from 1989 where you see Steve Wynn and the Mirage commercial.
No, well,
pretty cool.
Where were you in 89?
I was in junior high. I was in LA. Hadn't quite figured out how to get to Vegas yet.
Guess where I was in 89 on whatever date that was in 1989.
Okay, I know you were here in Vegas.
Where do you think I was in Vegas on the night the Mirage opened?
I think you were at the Mirage.
I was at the Mirage. I was there on opening night.
Yeah.
And
tell us about it. What was it like?
I remember. Here's all the things I remember.
Yeah.
It was built on the spot where I think it was where the Castaways used to be.
Okay.
I think the Silver Slipper was down a ways, and it's right where the Castaways used to be. Mm-hmm. And this is not the Castaways that ended up being where the Showboat is, way out on Boulder Highway, but a place called the Castaways, a little gambling joint that was kind of fun to hang out in. And I was so used to going to the Castaways, and there'd be nobody in the parking lot. So they built this thing. I remember going there, couldn't find a parking space.
Okay.
Just and I parked way out. Walked in, and the first thing I saw, I was walking toward the atrium, and I saw side by side. They weren't together. They were just two tourists, and one. I'll never forget this image. One guy had a tuxedo, and the other guy had a wife beater.
Yeah.
And they were walking down side by side, both of them like in awe, looking at the atrium and all that stuff.
Wow.
And I swear, I'm not just saying this. I said, Vegas will never be the same, I thought in my head.
Wow.
I was there by myself, wasn't with anybody at all. I was just there checking it out myself. And I took this mental note. I said, Vegas will never be the same.
Because it started the mega resort.
It was the first mega resort that was going to make money everywhere, not just in the casino. And that was Steve Wynn's great vision. You know, he said, we're going to make money on food and beverage. We're going to make money on shows. We're going to make money on retail.
Right.
We're going to make money on everything, and we're still going to make money on the casino. And I remember that time they were saying they had to make, their nut was $1 million a day. They had to make, you know, their cash flow had to be $1 million a day. And everyone was saying they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And they crushed it. I mean, they just absolutely crushed it. And that started the great wave of building in Vegas, you know, all through, you know, through the.
All those E2Cers.
Uh-oh. Well, it seemed like it was going for quite a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it should be good now.
Okay. All right. It's back.
All right. So we'll explain what's going on the in and out of this show, perhaps.
Yeah.
Because of something's wrong with the internet connection because of what we think because of the Electric Daisy Carnival.
Correct.
People are in
EDC.
town. Yeah. So we might bop out for a minute or two. We'll get it back up as soon as we can.
Yeah.
All right. So another closing was just announced this week as well.
Oh, what was that?
It's not as at Bellagio will close in August.
Sure. A very fancy restaurant.
Well, not only a real fancy restaurant, but just like we're talking about the Mirage sort of breaking boundaries, Picasso was like one of the first really big time Vegas restaurants, which led to the whole celebrity chef thing in Vegas. This Julian Serrano, who decided he's going to retire. And so when he's gone, I guess I didn't know this, but I read in accounts of it. They said that he's in the kitchen there at Picasso like 6 out of 7 nights a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's been doing it since the early 90s when Bellagio opened. And so the great Picasso, I've eaten there a couple of times. The food was like, of course, extraordinary.
Sure.
And set you back a month's rent.
Oh, I bet.
You know, that kind of deal.
Yeah, especially now.
Yeah, really, more and more expensive. So that's the other closing news.
Yeah,
that we mentioned here.
That's
right.
a bummer.
So all right, next on my list here, your song.
Yeah, I got in honor of EDC. I did a new version of "Going to Las Vegas," and it's going to be released in the next week or so. We put it out on Spotify. Yeah,
techno version,
electric music, electronic music.
I listened to
electronic dance music.
So you did that? What? That was just like a remix, right? Same song.
We remixed it. Oh, more beer.
I listened to it. I listened to it today. I mean, that music's not my music, but it was cool.
Thank you.
It was good. What you guys did was cool.
Thank you. We spent some time in the studio right here in Las Vegas in LV at MGB Studios, which is right on Karen. And a lot of people go there. It's a great studio. Mike Binder's fantastic. And, you know, he really remixed it, and it's fun.
Right, so we're not going to play a version of it now.
No.
Put it at the end of the show.
Next week. Next week's show, yeah. We'll
switch it out. So all you guys, when all of a sudden you wait to hear him do his rock version.
Yeah.
And then you hear this techno crap. Like,
now you're going to hear some techno crap at the end.
It's going to be like Andrew Hunt meets Cher. It's gonna be sort of something like that.
Meets a little bit of Diplo, maybe, you know, if you're a Diplo fan.
All right.
So
cool. And then me tonight, I'm going to Wise Guys.
Yeah, you're going to Wise Guys Town Square, which is a really big. It's their bigger flagship Wise Guys.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet. We've talked a little bit about Wise Guys, you know, the downtown one, when we talked about the shows and the show values. And basically, the prices range from about $10 to see a headliner to $25. And the guy I'm going to see tonight, his name's Joe. I'm not sure to pronounce the last name. I think it's Machi, Joe Machi, I think, Machi. I've seen him on Gutfeld, and I guess he's been on the Tonight Show and various other things. But funny guy. So I'm going to go see him tonight. That came out. He was on the higher end, $25 to see a guy who's like a really top line
headliner
comic. Yeah. And with all, you know, through the door, it was $32.
Okay.
With all the taxes and fees.
That's great.
So yeah, we'll report on it.
I also want to say Wise Guys at Town Center or Town Square has hamburgers. They got a delicious hamburger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't have a burger at the one at the Arts District, but they got tacos at the Arts District. But down at Town Square, they got a great hamburger.
Well, after these beers and everything else, getting there, I'll probably need a burger or something after that.
Cliff, look at your.
Oh, Cliff Chirico?
Yep.
What do we got? A message from Cliff?
He gave you $2 for spending his birthday with him.
Oh, you know what? Cliff, I had so much fun hanging with you at the closing of the Tropicana. We went and we saw some other YouTubers.
That's right.
And Cliff actually introduced us to some other YouTubers that were down there.
Cool.
So, yeah.
All right, good. Shout out to Cliff.
Great spending your birthday with you too, Cliff. It was a lot of fun. We hope to see you in Vegas soon. And thank you for the super chat.
Nice.
Now, one of the first questions that somebody asked I thought was really interesting. And they were saying, Anthony, is Corey B. He says, Anthony, I'm wondering if you have the secret world of video poker progressives in stock.
Well, isn't that interesting? Because before I even saw that,
yeah,
Anya here at the office said, "What book do you want to put a book up?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Yeah, let's do the secret world of video poker progressives."
We've been talking about.
I didn't even see that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's why.
So it's kismet. It's a little bit of fate that we're going to talk about this today.
Well, somebody else asked the question last week in the comments. It says, "When the progressive." All right, so we'll use that question, and that's what led to this. All these things kind of meld together. When the progressive on a video poker machine gets high enough, because the game is now 100+% return, should one stick with the basic strategy, meaning the regular strategy you play, or switch to an aggressive plan to hit the royal, always holding any two high cards to the royal, etc.
Now, can I guess?
Go ahead, guess.
I say that once it turns, the progressive turns positive, or even probably close there too, you play aggressive to try to hit that that bonus.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we'll take the member rewards book down. We'll put up the secret world here for a little bit, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, what happens is, obviously, as the progressives go up, the return percentage goes up with it, but only it will go up to some degree no matter how you play, but it will go up optimally, like to where it should be, if you are changing your play. Okay. So what you start doing is you start going more for royal flushes.
That's correct.
So whereas you wouldn't, if it gets high enough, you're holding things that you wouldn't necessarily hold, like even something like an ace and a 10,
right,
or something like that, of the same suit, if it gets high enough.
Sure.
Now,
okay.
But the problem is, when do you do that? When are the strike points when you make these changes? It's very hard to do. You have to kind of like intuitively, or before you leave, you have to find a progressive schedule. The way you could do that is with software and things like that. But as far as books go, that will teach you how to estimate stuff and all of that, this book right here is as good as any.
Okay.
It's written by a guy named Frank Neeland, and Frank, ran a bunch of video poker teams. Frank was like a masterful video poker player, especially progressive wise. Very fast, very good. This book it's kind of complicated, and you got to wade through it a little bit, but it'll tell you. But the answer is yes. Intuitively, you will start to see things that you will try harder, to hit the royal. And in relation to that, all of a sudden the royal that was once every 40,000 will go down steadily till, as you make these changes, you'll hit it once in 38,000, once in 37,000, that sort of thing.
That's right.
So the question, the answer is yes, you would change, but when you change and how you change and to what the magnitude is, you need some tools, either a video poker program that can spit you out something with a high progressive number, with the changes in strategy, or a book like this that'll tell you how to estimate it.
Wow, that's really interesting. Now, we've talked a lot about advantage play, and we've talked a lot about how to get advantage play. And I've seen this that you're talking about, these teams. We've seen this firsthand at the Downtown Grand. Yeah, because the Downtown Grand has a 4-way progressive, and you see when it gets really good. You've pointed out, you go, that guy's a player. I know him. He's
Tom R. I won't say his name, but it was Tom R. It was a legendary player of video poker, positive video poker. So and there he was after all these years sitting there, playing
going for the progressive.
Really good, a progressive that had gotten up to about 104% or something.
Right. And you see maybe there's a few guys at the bar and everyone's going for the one progressive. And that's when you're not playing computer perfect. That's when you're saying, hey, I'm going to hold the ace and the 10 suited and go for the royal.
And here's the difference between, a pro like him And a former pro like me, who's doing other things like publishing,
Uh-huh.
is when I got tired, I left and he stayed. Nobody had hit it yet, right? And I was like, I got enough of this.
So you're saying that's the luxury. The luxury is you've put in your time, and you've talked about this on the podcast. You've put in your time of playing 13 hours straight, 15 hours straight, because you have to, because you're part of a team and they need you to go play.
Oh, absolutely. I've, when I had to do my shift or something like that, yeah, sure, I did that. Or when I was playing on my own, if it was, it's everything. We've talked about this before. When you're talking about playing expertly or playing professionally, it's all expected value.
Yeah.
Like, how much is it worth for me to be sitting in this seat? I mean, you can calculate a per hour return value, and you go, wow, this royal is so high, or these aces are so high on the progressive aces with a kicker. And you know that your chances of hitting it, it's going to take you hours and hours and hours, but you know that you're getting paid on average something like $120 an hour. Well, you might sit and play it.
Right.
If you know that you're getting paid $7 an hour, you might go, no, thanks. I'm tired. It's cool to have a hobby and have a drink and play for $7 an hour, but you're not going to make a living on that. So your decision making, is different in that regard.
Absolutely.
So speaking of hours, everyone's asking about that machine.
Oh, all right. Yeah, you can see it in the frame. We talked about this on one of the episodes. This is the one you won.
Yeah, this is okay. So what you just talked about, we're talking about when you're playing as a team. And we'll tell this story again because it's a great story, and I don't think many people have really heard it. This is way back. This is when all I was doing was playing for a living. And I picked up a buddy of mine who was a teammate, great player. His name's Ed House. Shout out to Ed. Ed is one of the greatest tournament players I've ever seen, blackjack expert, and just an overall great advantage player. Yeah. I picked him up. We're going to go to the bar. It's funny because of all of our team members, the only ones who liked to party were me and Ed.
Right.
So Ed and I, obviously, we got to be buddies and we were hanging out. So I pick him up, and I've got a bunch of mail because we were getting mail from everywhere at that time, and it's laying down on the passenger side, and he starts looking through my mail, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, go ahead, you're not going to find anything in there. That's why it's laying out. And he picks this one up and he looks at it and he goes, what are you going to do with this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was an offer from a casino. It was the old Mint Casino, which is now the Horseshoe, right? A part of the Horseshoe. And I said, nah, there's nothing there. He goes, you sure? He's looking at it and and he's reading it. And he starts, and I'm driving and he's explaining it to me.
His wheels are spinning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what it was a contest for 30 some days or 45 days or something like that at the Mint, that whoever scored the most points, and the way you scored points was just by how much you won. They were trying to get people to play, would win a video poker machine.
Right.
And
now these things are expensive.
Well, even back then, this is 20 some years ago, and they were 7,000 a piece.
Right. Today they're like 30,000 a piece.
Are they that much? I don't know. Well,
maybe 20, 30. They're expensive.
Those were between 7,000 and 10,000.
Yeah. Not cheap.
And we put together a team of like 7 guys, and we figured it out that it was a gigantic overlay, and we played it and we did shifts. We took shifts doing it, and we played untested or uncontested for about 10 days before the word got out, and all of a sudden other teams started coming in, and we started making deals, and we started saying, okay, finally we said, you get this day, we get that day, whatever. When it was all done, we had won 23 machines.
Wow.
And at that time, or still now, you could buy a bar and put in a maximum of 15 machines. All right. So there were, that's right. That's what it was. We won 22 machines because there were 7 of us, and we kept 15, and everybody got 1 machine. And the 15 we kept to try to buy a bar and open our own bar. And that was like too much regulations and licenses and all that. So we ended up selling them all off for, 4,000 or 5,000 a piece. Whatever. And then we chopped it up. But the funny story about this was I was playing on we would play 8-hour shifts. This was before cell phones. We had beepers, right? And I'm playing, and I
911.
I get to the end of my shift. I got 45 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And I call the cocktail waitress and bring me a beer.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm like, okay, I'm a party now a little bit. So I have 2, 3, 4 beers like in 45 minutes because I know I'm done. And right at the end, I get a beep, and it's saying my relief can't come. And they say, you got to keep playing. And I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah.
I'm half in the bag right now, and I'm tired. And I go, okay. And I stop drinking, I'm done. And I just play. And I play, and nobody relieves me. 16 hours I play straight.
Yeah.
Right? By the end of it, I was so out of it. I was so tired. Back then, you had to play the buttons. You couldn't hit the machine. And I remember looking at the machine and seeing the cards and like trying to punch them on the machine, but
Oh,
didn't work
geez.
back then,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just so out of it. Finally, I got relieved, got in my car, wasn't drunk because I wasn't drinking anymore. I was just so tired. And I was driving home and I was on Decatur
Mhm.
and I hit a stoplight right in front of Arizona Charlie's. And I just knew it was going to happen. I threw it into park,
Yeah.
tried to stay awake, and all of a sudden woke up and cars were whizzing by me. And I was lucky I had it in park.
Oh, wow.
And that woke me up. That shocked me to awake, right?
Yeah.
And boom, I drove off and got home to my little 1-bedroom apartment back then. But that's kind of like a story from the road.
Now,
you know, how
your
we-
team went in. They won 22 of these $7,000 games.
Yeah.
It's a lot of dough.
For us back then, it was a great play.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this was something we did
Over a month's time, you said?
yeah, over about a month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we ended up making about one machine, which I kept. And what was our share? Our share was something like 10, 11,000 for a month's work.
All right.
That was great, right? You know, per person. Back then, that was strong. I got, that was bankroll.
Absolutely. And as the great Gene Scott says, playing video poker is the most fun work I've ever had. So I know you're tired, but you're still playing video poker. You're still in the bar. You're still having a good time. I do think gambling is fun.
So anyway, just to close that one off, I tell Tanya, I go, let's put the secret world up, and I look and I see that question there. That was funny.
Really, it's just it's kismet. Somebody wants to know, Ace Larson wants to know, Anthony, what version of video poker do you play? I can answer that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a 2-answer question. Number one, the number one answer is the best video poker schedule I can find wherever I'm playing.
That's right. Whichever one has the highest return
Answer
for what I'm doing.
Answer 2 is typically it's bonus poker.
Yeah, typically it's bonus poker. Almost all the time is bonus poker. Sometimes there'll be something a little bit better. Sometimes there'll be a reason to play something else. I remember once there was a bonus for deuces, for getting 4 deuces. So I played deuces because now you're keeping deuces more than anything else.
Right.
So what you do is you make a quick calculation about what is the best game to play given the circumstances. And if they're all the same, then you take the highest return. And it doesn't matter about, we've talked about this on the show before too, it doesn't matter if you have a proper bankroll. It doesn't matter about volatility at that point. You just take the one that has the highest return.
Okay.
And it's almost always bonus poker. It really is.
Okay, so almost always rule of thumb is if you're playing bonus poker, that's probably the best game, but occasionally you'll find a deuces wild or something.
Well, yeah. Sometimes where you find a bonus poker deluxe, or you find and you also have to be able to play that game relatively well. All right. So I used to be very, very good at playing double bonus, which is one of the hardest games. Like a 10-7 double bonus is one of the hardest to play.
Okay.
But the good schedules are gone for so long that I haven't played it in a long time. I don't feel comfortable playing that. So even if I see a real good bonus poker schedule, if there's something close, I would play the lesser one because I don't know the game that well.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Because you want to play as close to perfect as you can. Let's see. Let's see.
Oh, you want another one?
He's looking, but I got a question
Any
here.
views on the strike?
Any views on the strike? Well,
Updates?
was that?
Any updates?
Oh, updates. No, well, the updates is they had the strike. They walked out for 48 hours. The only one left is Virgin. Virgin, they couldn't come. They gave Virgin some grace. They gave them time to negotiate, and Virgin just took the time, didn't do anything. They were also going through their change with Mohegan Sun, so that might have had something to do with it. Virgin's not been doing very well. They're crying, saying they can't do what the other places are doing, and that might be so. On the other hand, take both sides here. The union might not be paying attention to what they can and can't do. So I don't know who's right. I'm not taking sides on this at all. But they finally did walk out for 48 hours. It was the first walkout in 22 years since they did it at downtown at the Golden Gate. And they did it for 48 hours. Then they came back. They were back on the job. Supposedly they're negotiating, but there's no update. So there definitely was a picket line. There was the signs. There were people yelling and screaming and all that stuff. But as of right now, they haven't walked out as of now.
Somebody here, Anthony, this one's interesting. You might like this. He says the NFL schedule is out, and week 1 looks very tough on the survival for Survivor. Looks like it'll eliminate a lot of people, he's saying.
Well, I don't know. Week 1, you can choose anything. So
Right.
I mean, you've got typically the one, the dangerous in Survivor is Thanksgiving, Christmas, when there's only 4 games going on, and you've only got 8 teams to choose from. That's that's what's tough. I think week 1 is probably going to be. I don't know how you would handicap that to say that's a really tough week 1. So maybe he knows more about it than I do. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. That's a really interesting perspective. So yeah, so week 1 should be an easy week to pick if you want it to be, right? It should be an easy week where you go, I could at least take that team.
Well, look, here's what you got to understand about Survivor. And I'm working on Blair Rodman's book all about sports betting, and Frank B is contributing a couple chapters. Frank Betty, Fabulous Sports Betting Mind. We've talked about him before. I'm contributing a chapter on Mattress Mac and a chapter on playing tournament contests. And a point that I make on this is that when you're playing these contests, you have to understand that you're playing against some really powerhouse players.
Yeah.
I mean, meaning
the smartest people
who are quants, who model, they look ahead, they map out their whole Survivor thing. They do a mock Survivor themselves, saying, I'm going to take it this week, and then that, and they look and see who will be left and whatever. Most people aren't going to take the time to do that. So you're up against those kind of powerhouses. That doesn't mean you shouldn't play, because it's not like you're going to play to infinity against these guys. You're only playing for a short duration of time, which is not that short, but 17 weeks or 18 weeks, whatever it is now, or 20, because of the extra Thanksgiving and whatever, 20 different coups or trials, if you want to call them. So you can get lucky and beat them, but you're up against that, those kind of guys.
Right.
And it's tough to deal with, because they're making pretty much all the right moves now. Because it's gambling, anything can happen. You can win in a contest or a tournament.
Right. You can model the whole season and then lose in week 4
or week 1.
Yeah.
Happened to us 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We modeled the season.
Yeah.
We lost in week 1. We were gone.
But you also had 6 tickets.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, a couple of our tickets were gone in week 1.
Yeah, right? I know, which is a real bummer.
Okay. So here's one I'll take, unless we got to go to one sitting.
No, let's do it.
All right. This was in the comments as well. It said, hey guys, if you're going to fully cover the big 20% free play deal at Scoundrels, which we talked about on the show a couple weeks ago.
North Las Vegas. Yeah.
The sign up bonus there is play 250 through and get 50, 20%. That's really good. That's really strong, right? Why not tell your viewers what VP game pay tables are available there? So he said, you talked about this deal, but you didn't say anything about the games. Like, are they crappy 6-5 bonus poker? The answer is pretty much yes. It's better than crappy 6-5 because they have a progressive 6-5. That starts at 1,500.
That's actually not bad at all.
No, it's not bad at all. But that's the lesser point. The point is, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's crappy 6-5. The value in this play is in the gigantic 20% bonus for your sign up.
Your free play.
Your $50 free play.
That's
where the edge is.
Yeah.
And I get this question all the time. Somebody goes, I have a match play coupon. I have a play 50, get 50 match. I mean, not play 50, but a $50 match play. So if I win this, I get paid 100. What should I play it on? And the answer is, it doesn't matter. Play it on Baccarat, play it on roulette, play it on blackjack, craps, play it on one of the Carney games. It doesn't matter. The power is in the coupon.
Sure.
The power is not that. Now, it does matter if you want to squeeze out the last 10 cents of it. Then yes, there's a better way to play always. There's one best play. But the reality is, it doesn't matter. Put it on the crap table, put it on the pass line, put it on the don't pass line. Right. Doesn't matter. The power is in the coupon. That's why what we call the scufflers, the guys on the street who make a living off of playing things like this. Like when I came to town, I had no money, right? And that's where I got into coupons. That's where couponomy came from. I knew right away that playing with the coupon was the way to go, and that it didn't matter what I played, because that's where all the value was. Raising my edge to like 30 and 40% over the casino with the right kind of match play.
Right. And that means that over the course of time, you're always going to win if you're playing correctly.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, over time, you can't lose. You got, casinos kill you with 5% edge or 3% edge. You're hitting them with 35 to 40% your way when you're playing with a coupon.
Right.
I bring him up all the time. My mentor, Peter Griffin, he would say, like, gambling without a coupon is like sex without a condom.
That's funny. Sex with a condom. I know what you mean. But yeah, I like those coupons. I like when you get the coupon book right here.
That's what that is.
You get a lot of value.
Well, that's what we
in the
go.
coupons.
Yeah, when we talk about the gambling coupons and the member rewards, that's what we're talking about. Is these are match plays and things of that nature that give you the edge no matter what you do.
Well, you've said that if you're playing without a coupon, you're playing without a net. If you're playing with a coupon, you have some sort of safety there that you're playing with.
Or you're having sex without a condom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. So didn't I just say that? Okay.
Clown Patrol says, I got hassled on the strip last night by a clown selling pictures. Well,
What does that mean?
I don't know.
All right.
You got hassled by a clown, damn it.
All right. So here's what you do. You go get away from me, clown.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it. I mean, there's really nobody that's going to help you on the strip.
You're a clown.
If somebody gives you, yeah, he can say, I'm Clown Patrol, you're in trouble. But I mean, look, if somebody's going to give you a hard time on the strip, look, you got to have your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
Be careful. Don't get into an argument with them. Just go, no thanks, no thanks. And if they bug you, duck into the nearest casino. Wherever you are, duck into that casino. They're not going to follow you because there's security in there and they don't like that.
That's hilarious. Go get him, Clown Patrol. You're on patrol.
Have you been to the Durango buffet?
I have not been to the
No.
Durango buffet because there is no Durango buffet.
Well, I guess maybe in a steakhouse, someone went and said, or Explore Vegas,
Okay.
our friends. They just did a review and it was $150, and our people are asking.
I saw that in there. I
Is
didn't
this-
understand
alright.
what they were talking about. And I said to myself, when I saw that, I said, to me, the most expensive buffet in town is the Bacchanal buffet at Caesars at about $90 a person.
Okay, all I can think is that this is it's like a Sunday buffet brunch or something like that. That is actually some sort of a buffet that they put in there. And if that's the case, why, does somebody have information?
Yes, so that buffet is only for special occasions such as Mother's Day, Father's Day. They don't, advertise it as a regular buffet.
So it's probably, okay, so it's a special buffet that they put together for their best customers or on special days and everything else. Okay.
They're not
Hence-
doing it on a regular basis. They just have their regular menu up. They say
Yeah.
they do have special occasions, which is not something that's.
Okay, hence I was not invited to it because they don't like me. So that was that note. So there is no ongoing buffet at Durango, or one that we would really cover because it's not available to the public.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is my crack staff over here. This
Yeah,
is
baby.
Paul Machado.
That's right. It's 100 degrees out, and Andrew has a jacket. It's just a jean. It's just a little denim thing. And we got the AC on in here. I was not wearing this outside.
And Tanya Maynard. You coming off. But anyway,
Somebody wants to know what your favorite deli is, Anthony. What's your favorite deli?
my favorite deli. I really like Bagel Mania.
Yeah, I went there recently.
Yeah, it's
Great.
good. Bagel Mania used to be. I like Bagel Mania. Bagel Mania was my favorite when it was down on Twain, way in the, in the what would you call that? The barrio. I don't know. It was in the bad area of town, right? And now they've moved and they got schmaltzy and they're over by the convention center.
Yeah, they're right.
They raised the prices and stuff. So I would say my favorite, honestly, is probably Weiss Deli, which is down
Where's that?
halfway to Henderson on
Okay.
Sunset. And I think Weiss Deli might be my favorite. Bagel Mania would be my other one that I would choose. The
Yeah.
Bagel Cafe is really good. That's on the north side.
Mhm.
And
We've been to Saginaw's, but not in a while. We went with Frank B.
yeah, I don't love Saginaws. I don't
Saginaw's.
think Saginaw's is a real. I mean, I'm from Michigan and Saginaw is from Michigan, but I don't put that in the category. I would say Weiss Deli first and then Bagel Mania second.
Yeah. Okay, well, there you go. I like Bagel Mania too. Also, Bagel Mania has video poker. They have a little video poker bar.
Yeah.
No players cards though.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that. You don't get any points. or
Yeah, they
anything.
don't comp bagels, so what's the use?
Right. They don't comp coffee. They don't, they don't do anything like that. Is that a kosher deli? I don't know.
I don't think so. No, we need Deke for that.
Yeah.
You know
Deep
what?
would know.
Go find the one. Can we put a link after this? If somebody write a note to the show we had Deke on, Deke Castleman, where he talked about which ones were the kosher delis, I think, didn't he?
Yeah. We actually have a clip that we're going to put out eventually of just the best kosher delis.
Yeah.
We'll get there, but I'll put a link to that episode in the description box after this.
Cool.
What is the best way to use Caesar's reward credits? It sucks that it's only 50% if you want to play it as a free play.
Okay, they're talking about, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're talking about the credits they get from Caesars that you can look. Here's what you do. You look at these things in situations like this, and I don't know if I'm addressing. I don't play at Caesars, so I don't know how their system works, but I know how these systems often work. that you will get X number of credits.
Yeah.
And if you gamble them, they're worth this. And if you use them as comps, they're worth that and whatever. So let's say that they're worth 100% for comps and 50% for
Gambling.
for putting in the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you got to eat, then use them as comps.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not hungry, then maybe they're not even, that's not the 50% better is not worth it if you're not hungry. And then you gamble them off.
You put them in a game.
The rule of thumb is whatever you get, use it up.
Okay.
If you can.
Okay.
Because you never know when they're going to change their system or when you might not come back to Vegas or whatever. And people tend to hoard their points. And, you know, when you're a local, it's even the wrong thing to do because they'll change it on you before you get in to play them. But when you're a visitor, you should never hoard points. You should play them off any way you can, especially if you can gamble them off.
Yeah.
And then start again next time. And I know everyone loves to have those in the pocket, but it's not optimal.
And life's short. You never know when it's going to end. Use your points.
Yeah, maybe you don't. Yeah, maybe you end.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and then it's hard to pass those on. You know, I mean, people have gotten into a lot of big fights with like, oh, my husband or my wife died, and he or she had 1 million points. Can I use them? You're like, nope.
Sorry.
You know, that kind of stuff, and they have to fight for that.
You know, speaking of points, maybe we should transition into what happened at or what's going on at Fountain Blue, which is the newest casino on the strip.
Oh yeah, you did the tier match.
I did. So Fountain Blue allows you to tier match right now, and I believe until June 4th. So you
June
can go
2nd,
in there,
I think.
Or June 2nd. Yeah. June 4th. I have a movie coming out.
My mom's birthday, June 2nd. So okay.
So you got until just put in your mind before June. You got to get to Fountain Blue. And they do tier matching. Now, if
you've got a high card from somewhere else, if you don't have a high card, it's not going to do you any good.
That's right. But you will get $15 free play. So just by signing up at Fountain Blue, you get $15 free play, and I think you get a $15 or $10 food credit.
Yeah, but
too.
tell them what you got because you had a high card from Resorts World.
I'm 3rd level at Resorts World and 3rd level and that's Monarch level. So I brought my Monarch card over to Fountain Blue. And they gave me the 3rd level at Fountain Blue, which now gives me a $150 food credit, which I'm only allowed to spend in one felt swoop. So that's totally cool. But if I accidentally buy a coffee with that, then my whole 150 gets wiped out. And they explained that to me when I got it. So 150 got to go in one felt swoop. And then I got another 150 in spa credit.
Okay. All right, good. Nice.
Amazing.
So look, there's a lot of things going on with tier matching right now where people are talking about. For instance, if you're a local, here's a play, hurry up, run over to the Mirage before it closes in July. Well, it doesn't matter because you got to do this at Fountain Blue by June. But run over to the Mirage. If you're a local, I'll give you a higher card that you can immediately take across the street to Fountain Blue and get this, not 150, but you get $100 food credit. It's a good play. It's in the last LVA. If you remember, read the last LVA and all the details are there.
Okay.
The current one, the May LVA.
Yeah. So Fountain Blue's looking to garner some new business. They're looking to get some people in there.
Yeah.
And boy, is it luxurious.
Well, the tier matching thing is like the same. It's the same thing as the people who do airline miles, the people that do credit card, upgrades and things like that. They're experts at it. They know how to work the system. And the tier matching people are making bank, man. They're doing great.
Right. So speaking of Fountain Blue, at the beginning, someone asked. They said they're coming in October. Fountain Blue or Resorts World?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Ooh,
2 of my favorite places.
You want to go first, and I'll go second.
Well, I've never stayed at Resorts World, but I've partied there numerous times, and I go there all the time. In fact, I might be there tonight because my friend DJ Backdraft is performing in the Doghouse.
Okay.
So I love Resorts World. Supposedly they have the most technologically advanced rooms. So, it's supposed to be beautiful to stay at Resorts World, but Fountain Blue is, the newest one on the strip and super luxurious.
Yeah. Here's what I would do. I would go with the best deal. No matter what, I would go with the cheapest room.
That's true.
Because you can just walk from one to the other.
Yeah.
Right. So I would go with the cheapest room. I said this to I was on some show and I said, Fountain Blue is so screwed up in the casino that they make Resorts World Casino look like a casino. So, you know what I mean? It's like when I saw Resorts World, I'm like, they don't know what they're doing in this casino. But compared to Fountain Blue, they look like a casino.
Yeah.
So to me, of the two, I like Resorts World better. I do like Resorts World better. I feel better in there. I feel like there's more. Tell them about the drinking deal, man.
I was just thinking that.
Tell them.
The drink comp policy at Resorts World is the best in town, bar none, nothing better. I was sitting at the center bar at Resorts World. And I'll be honest, I was losing a little bit of money. And
No.
I said to the bartender, I said, "Excuse me, what's your most expensive tequila that you comp for gambling?" And they said Don Julio and Yeho. And I said, "I'll take one of those, please." I wasn't even in the mood, but I said, "You know what? I'm losing so much. I want my Don Julio."
So I mean, what's that? That's typically a $30 shot.
That's like a $25. Yeah, no, I mean that's a $25 shot of tequila. And I was playing 5-cent Keno at the bar. I was playing 20 hand, but 5-cent denom. And
that's pretty strong. And you've told me you get some pretty fancy foo drinks there and everything else, right?
You can get chocolate martinis, and they have these espresso beans that they'll put in them. The bartenders are great. The service at Resorts World is the best. And as a local, free parking. You just go there. You show up.
Yeah. Free parking when you have a card.
Yeah.
And again, this is it. You have to decide what you want. You know, people go, "How can you tell them to go play there? They got these crappy, video poker schedules and all that." Well, maybe you don't mind losing $6 an hour playing a bad video poker quarter schedule or nickel Keno, right? When you can get an $18 cocktail because that's what you want to do on a Sunday morning.
Right.
So yeah, there's value in that.
And maybe I want more than one.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So and I'll tell you what, and there's entertainment value of just hanging out there and looking around and watching the people, and there's like beautiful women and I guess handsome men. I don't look at them, but I mean, all that kind of stuff. It's cool. It's cool, man.
There is a great crowd at Resorts World. I always feel safe when I'm there. The seats are comfortable, and the drinks. I think it's the best drink policy in town. By the way, if you're a vodka drinker, Belvedere vodka. That's a potato vodka. I think it's like a few times distilled.
It's amazing.
I mean, really,
it's amazing.
Let's see.
You got another one, anybody? I got one.
Go for it.
All right. This is again, I always have a few here while we're, to fill up the dead time. It says, "You talk all day about video poker and blackjack. What are your 1-minute thoughts on playing craps?" Okay. My 1-minute thought on that, or my 10-second thought on that is video poker and blackjack are beatable. Craps is not.
Okay.
All right. And that's what it boils down to. What do we talk about here? We talk about advantage opportunities, whether it's in the game or we're talking about, taking advantage of the comps or, whatever, the things we've been saying, the good martinis over at, Fontainebleau. Mm-hmm. There are certain games that are beatable and there are certain games that are not. There are 5 beatable games. All right. It's blackjack, poker, video poker, sports betting, race betting. These are beatable games. Uh-huh. All the other games, baccarat, craps, roulette, whatever, they are not beatable being played what's called on a square, meaning that you're just going up and you're going to walk up to it and you're going to bet on a crap table and blah, 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 and you're going to play the pass line with odds and fine. You're playing 1.4 negative, or with odds, it goes down to 0.8 to 0.6, whatever, but it still stays negative. So that's why we don't talk about craps. Mm-hmm. There's no way to beat it. Now, there are ways to beat it. You can beat it in a tournament. You can beat it with a coupon. You can beat it in a promotion. You can beat it, for comps. Right. There are all kinds of ways to beat all the games.
And there's some great bets you can make in craps.
Well, there are no great bets. Mm-hmm. A great bet is a bet where you have an edge. So there are no great bets, and there is not a single bet you can make in craps where you have an edge. None. Okay. Zero.
Okay.
So that's why we don't talk about it. There are great bets in blackjack. There are great bets in video poker. That's why we talk about these things. Mm-hmm. So the question is, what is your 1-minute? Well, now my 4-minute, 5-minute tirade.
Right.
This is a negative expectation game, mm-hmm. and negative expectation games are for fun. They're for entertainment, right? When you go to a movie, it's negative expectation for your wallet. You're doing it for fun, though, so it's maybe overall it's positive expectation.
But if you see a crappy movie, you're not getting your money back.
That's right.
That's it.
Look, I have no problem with people who play craps, who play baccarat, who play whatever, because they love it, they enjoy it, they can afford it. Mm-hmm. It's a form of entertainment. I have no problem with that. But that's not what we're here for. We talk about games that are beatable and why and how, even if they're for smidgens of a penny. That's what we talk about.
Right.
So that's my answer.
So craps, even if you're like laying the four, or even if you're
laying the floor, that sounds like a hooker that was in there the other day.
Laying the floor is me after a long night of drinking.
No, that's why beer Fridays are so great, man. That's why they're so great.
But no, laying the 4 is what I'm saying. If you lay the 4 after the point's been established, isn't that technically like a positive bet.
No, because you're laying at true odds. I mean, you're
Right, you
you're
get
talking
paid
about the
less.
odds bet, so it's an even odds bet. But to get to the odds bet, you had to make a negative expectation
Bet. Right.
bet before, right?
Yes.
Now, once the point's established, if you haven't been on that and you want to make a lay bet on the floor,
Yeah.
you got me going there too. Give me another beer. I need another beer. You're still playing because of the commission you got to pay. You're still playing negative.
Right.
So, again, I love craps. I mean, the biggest tournament I ever won was $125,000 in Atlantic City in the crap tournament.
You've talked about
So
this.
I love craps.
This is a great story too, by the way. Have you told it on the show? I think you did. Maybe.
I've told it. We'll move on. If we don't have any time, we'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah.
You see anything there, Tanya? Nobody's. Come on.
People want to know. People want to know thoughts on the Rolling Stones.
They are very old, but they're.
We're gonna link to our blog that was just posted, the review about the Rolling Stones.
Okay, good. Yeah, check the info box here because we just somebody just posted a blog. One of our writers posted a blog on the Rolling Stones concert, where I guess Mick Jagger he rolled up in a wheelchair. No, no. I guess he's good. I saw Jagger about 6-7 years ago, and couldn't believe how energetic he was. I mean, geez, man. I mean, he was in his 70s then. I mean, I can hardly walk myself in my 60s. So
yeah. Somebody else is asking. It's Regina. She says, which video poker has the best odds? So it's like kind of the same question in different ways. Typically, if you find a bonus poker game, that will be the best pay schedule over time.
You have to be able to you have to be able to look at the pay schedules and understand which ones have the best odds, because at any given time it could be any game, right? But the default, if you don't know how to tell the difference, the default is play regular bonus poker,
right?
Which is not sexy. It's not fun. I mean, it is fun. It's not like exciting compared to the ones with the big bonuses, but it will probably be the best return.
Let's see. Also wants to know, what about Ultimate X?
Crack.
Yeah, we call that the crack of video poker because it's probably the most exciting, because you continue to get multipliers on your next hands if you do well in your present hands.
Yeah, look, Ultimate X will vacuum your money. I mean, it really will. But Ultimate X is so much fun that sometimes it's worth it playing it for low amounts of money. Ultimate X has a feature where you can, what's called vulture. You can vulture Ultimate X, which is playing bonuses when you're just walking around. You see a bonus that somebody didn't play off. You can play that.
There's a chapter in this on Gambling 102.
In Gambling 102, yeah, there's a chapter on vulturing.
It's my favorite chapter, by the way.
Well, we're talking with a new guy right now. I was going back and forth. In fact, remember I told you I got to write one email before we do the live stream.
Yeah.
It was to the guy who was the greatest Ultimate X expert I've ever known, except for the guy I know who's Ernie Moody, who started it. He's the guy who conceptualized it. He's the guy who came up. He invented it. Yeah. But this guy, no, to be honest with you, the guy I'm talking to now knows more about it than the guy who invented it. That's what's amazing.
Wow.
But we're talking about a book.
Okay.
So hang in, man. Hang tight, everybody.
You talked about how Ultimate X is vulturable. That means that there's like leave behinds that a less informed player can leave on the game, and an informed player can come in and kind of take advantage of that.
Yeah. And, you find those in bars. You even find them in casinos now and everything. Ultimate X is a really fun and potentially profitable game.
Yeah.
But playing it again, all these things, I named these 5 things, right? Blackjack, video poker, race betting, sports betting.
Yeah.
They're beatable, but not by everybody. They're beatable by experts.
Well, yeah.
So, same thing. Ultimate X is beatable, but you got to know how to beat it.
Well, even if you're vulturing Ultimate X, it doesn't mean that you're going to win that hand.
No,
it doesn't mean that you're going to win.
No, not at all. Absolutely not.
So I'll give you an example. I was at a place and I saw some multipliers on an Ultimate X at a higher denom than I'm normally comfortable than playing. But I said, "Oh, it's profitable. It's positive. I'll play it." Yeah, and guess what? I won nothing.
Yeah. Then you want to play it.
Yeah.
All right. Look, here's Gene Scott, Andrew. My quote was, "VP is the most fun you can have with your clothes on." That's
hilarious.
That's from Gene Scott.
That's Is that the same Gene Scott, or is that the
No,
other Gene? I
no,
think
that's the real Gene
is
Scott.
that the real Gene Scott?
Because she's told me that before. Believe
All right,
me.
that's hilarious.
All right, shout out to Gene.
With your clothes on. Okay.
Everyone doesn't know the real Gene Scott. I kind of almost know the real Gene
Well,
Scott.
because there's a guy named Gene Scott who comments a lot.
That's the real Gene Scott.
Hi,
All right,
Gene.
Kevin
The
Lewis.
other one is just Jay Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's Jay Scott, and we assumed it was Gene Scott. That's right.
All right, Kevin Lewis says, Kevin Lewis, very interesting guy on our website. Lots of great information, but he has a bad temper and he gets in trouble a lot. But anyway, I love Kevin. He's a good dude. he says Emerald Island and Rainbow and Henderson. What he's talking about is, somebody must have asked the question before.
They said if you only have one choice, which one?
If you had a choice between the two,
Yeah.
I don't know. Kevin can answer that. So watch what Kevin says, because he goes there and does it, and he knows how to parse them and know what they're doing. I like Emerald Island myself. Both of those places are absolutely amazing. They're still great deals. They switched hands recently, new owners. Was sorry to see that, but so far so good. They're sticking in there. And by the way, read on if you're an LVA member, read whatever Kevin Lewis writes, because he's all over it, except when he's talking about politics. Well, just go elsewhere.
Right. That's hilarious.
Everyone here agree?
Yes.
Hey, I'm out of beer. This is Beer Friday. What's going on?
Andrew spoke about Resorts World comping Belvedere vodka. Do you want to mention the casino that comps Patron, Don Julio, Grey Goose at the quarter level? I think that's Resorts World too.
Yeah, who did they say? I wasn't listening. I was reading another one. What was the question?
I don't know if it was a question or if it was a comment.
Thank you.
Do you want to mention the casino that comps Patron, Don Julio, Grey Goose?
Oh, yeah.
It's Resorts World. I was talking about Resorts World. They comp Belvedere, Don Julio.
Here's one for me. Okay. Anthony, when you talk about a video poker game being like 98.5% return, is that based on the life of the machine? That's based on the here and now. That's based on the moment. That means if you play it to infinity perfectly, it will return that. That's what perfect play. If you make one mistake, it will play incrementally less than that. And everyone will make a mistake. So no one really can play at that. Bob Dancer, pretty damn close. Gene Scott, pretty damn close.
Right.
You know, you play with their cards and their information, pretty damn close enough. But this is based on playing to eternity. But as a gambler, as a player, you have to use that number and say that's what this machine returns.
So the random number generators are programmed through infinity.
Well, no, the random number generators are programmed to be random. Okay. And they're not. They're pseudo-random, but that's such a small sticking point that they're random enough. And that if you were to play it through to infinity, that's what would essentially you would hit that if you were playing perfectly. Nobody will. You'll always play a little bit below. Okay. So yeah. So so when you walk up to a machine and I say 98.5, you're playing at 98.5 if you know how to play that machine.
Joe wants to know a good blackjack counting system to learn for amateurs.
I saw that. That's a good question.
That's a good one. All right.
The best card counting system for amateurs like me.
To be honest, there's really. All right. There's something called a fives count, which Kenny Houston talked about, and I did some stuff with early on, and others have written about it. And you can get a book called $1 Million Blackjack by Ken Houston, where he talks about the fives count. And that's like one of the easiest things you can do, but it's really not any good if you're not playing a single deck game.
Okay.
And all the single deck games are paying 6 to 5 now. So really that I would say no. So what you've got to do is you've got to find the easiest card counting system. There's really only two.
Okay.
Almost everybody, because it's been around forever, uses the high-low. All right.
High-low's the one I always hear about.
Yeah, it's been around forever. It's parameterized, as it's called, by Stanford Wong, is in his book, Professional Blackjack, which we just got the rights to and we're about to release. Right, Tanya?
Yes.
Tanya's been working on it. How many pages, Tanya?
586.
586 pages. We're about to release it. The high-low. But I'm telling you, our book, Knockout Blackjack, the subtitle is The Easiest Card Counting System Ever Devised. And I would say that knockout count from Knockout Blackjack is the one that you should do. Can somebody grab me one? I'll put it up on the screen here before we're done. I would say, if I had to tell anybody start now, I would say I would use knockout, because you don't have to do one important step. which is called true count conversion, where you're counting it, but then you have to make a deck estimation and you have to do some mental gymnastics with the high-low, and with KO you don't.
Okay.
So it's just kind of a number line thing. That would be my answer to that.
Okay. Well, that's a great answer. Here comes the book.
This is it right here. All
Now, my question, just through hanging out with you and hearing some stories, like if you are an experienced card counter, like say I knew what you know, and I walk into a casino and I start playing and I start card counting, wouldn't they recognize my card counter, that I am card counting based on the switching up of my bets?
Well, yeah, they will if you do it like a robot, you know. But that's where you know, we've talked about this before. Counting is science and art.
Okay.
All right. The science is being able to do it. Art is getting away with it.
Okay.
So you've got to mix things up. You got to try to throw them off. That's called camouflage. You know, and now you get into like how much camouflage do you lay before you start, you know, erode your advantage too much. Meaning by camouflage, you don't make the proper play.
Right.
So
to throw them off.
What they're doing these days is they're just, by them, I mean the new breed coming up, counting cards, whatever system they're using, they're attacking the casinos. And that is
hit quick, hit fast.
Hit quick and fast and get thrown out. They don't care. They go somewhere else. And that's described in our book, The 21st Century Card Counter.
Okay.
That's another one that if you want to play the way the guys do today, and girls who play, the 21st Century Card Counter.
Now, there is another thing at El Cortez. They still have one single deck blackjack game.
No, they don't.
Oh, they got rid of it?
They just got rid of it.
Holy crap.
It is gone.
That's terrible.
El Cortez, single deck, 3-2. Rest in peace.
Since when?
Rest in peace. Since 2 weeks ago.
Wow. Okay. Well, what I was going to say is that the rule there, because I've played there, the rule is you can count, you can do whatever you want. You can't change the denomination of your bet.
Well, that's no good.
Right. So so your counting is completely, if you're playing $10 denom, you got to stay at $10, or else they don't want you to play at the table. That was the rule.
If you're a brilliant card counter, and you're playing a single deck and they're dealing deep into the deck, you can actually beat them a little bit just on your strategy deviation. Okay. In card counting, you make all your money by bet deviation, going from small to big. Strategy is very important, but nowhere close to betting. So if they put you on a straight bet, I mean a flat bet, you can beat them if they're going deep enough in the deck just by making the right changes. But you know, it's not worth it.
But it's not right. It's not. So that was a way to kind of.
What's it? We're at the end.
Already an hour?
Yep.
Holy mackerel!
All right.
Any last ones here?
Any last minute questions?
Any tips on winning at the Bellagio? No. Go somewhere where they have better games. Kevin Lewis.
The tip is leave.
Yeah.
Well, the tip of the Bellagio, right? Don't play there.
Kevin, see what I just say about Kevin Lewis, right? Now I read right behind. Kevin Lewis says the tip is leave. All right. Now I didn't read that. I told you can trust Kevin Lewis as long as it's not politics. I'm not saying his politics are wrong. I'm just saying you don't want to get involved. All right. Let's see what else. Wow. Damn.
Go to the Bellagio for the flowers, for the fountains, for the pool.
All right. Nick Boss says they will let you spread on their double deck game at the El Cortez. Well, we'll see. El Cortez has always been called kind of sweaty. I love the El Cortez. I think it's a great place to play, a lot of fun and everything else, but they don't like to lose. That's all I can say. Are we done?
Corey wants to know when the book, The Advantage Players, will come out.
We're trying to get that one out by August.
Okay, so that's something that's coming soon.
Yeah, we're hoping by August. That'll be a good one to read because it'll tell you how these guys do the things that we're talking about.
All right.
I think everyone, that's it. Thank you. How many people we get in? We're at 300 exactly right now. 300 people in the
Wow, that's incredible. It says here the show's getting much better. That's what it says, damn it.
Well, he means as we drink more beers. That's what it says. As we drink more beers. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you, audience. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week.
All right. Perfect. Peace, love, happiness, EDC weekend.
It does get better as we go, doesn't it?
Funny.
We get fucked up.
I could have done this for another hour. Yeah, I was starting to get a buzz.
Oh, is it X? Oh, is there an X? Yeah.